when I start with my lessons and my students, I mention my wife. When we started meeting, we were communicating via Google Translate. And 6 months after, I swear on everything, she was able to speak and communicate. And because of that, I said, like, I can do this in Turkey. Maybe I can find a job where I can improve people. So if they think, well, I am this age or I have this challenges, I would say these are all excuses.
Welcome, everybody, to a new exciting episode of the Connected by Language podcast, the only shows that finds the most dedicated language learners out there and tries to learn from their craft. I'm your host, Michele, and I'm joined by my co host,
Michelle.
So, for the people that are joining in for the first time, I think it would be fair to kind of give us a little bit of an introduction of who we are, what we're all about, and what languages do we speak.
Yeah, so I am Michelle from Germany. I speak German, English, French, Spanish, and a little bit of Brazilian Portuguese.
Wow.
And I work as a language education specialist at Tandem.
And what is Tandem?
So, Tandem is a language exchange app where you can exchange languages with people from all over the world, all the languages that exist. And you can either talk one to one or in live group conversations, which we call language parties.
And there are over 300 different languages available to experiment on the app. So, no matter what kind of objectives you're looking for, whether somebody that can help you your speaking practice or finding a little bit of a friend to kind of share cultural insights with, you will always find the best person that you can heighten your language learning process with. And you might find people inside the app like me. Hi, my name is Michele. I come from Italy. I know French, English, a little bit of Japanese, and a little bit of German. And I'm just someone that is very excited about talking from people from all over the world and specifically understanding their own relationships with language. And today we're going to focus on a specific language. Well, it's not like a specific language where it's like a niche one. In fact, we're going to kind of talk about the most popular language learned in the world in English. But everybody has a little different story when it comes to their approach to English, what it means to them, and how that's changed their life. So today, we're going to take a look at how somebody decided to take the language learning and not only turn it into a career, but also give us a lot of insights into how language learning for other people, especially English learning, can be really, really, really powerful. So today, welcome to the show, Ali from the language school Just English.
Hello. How are you guys? How you doing? Very, very happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm doing great myself. I don't know about you, Michelle. Are you doing great?
Also, all good here.
Yes, we're very excited to learn about your own language journey, especially your English language journey, because I think that a lot of people, especially that are interested in the world of education, might find this episode particularly insightful. But before we actually start the actual teaching side, it's better to kind of give a little bit of an introduction. So, Ali, can you give us a little bit of a personal journey and what you're all about?
All right. I'd like to start surely with my name. My name is Ali Alradhi. I am an English language teacher, but I prefer to be called as a coach because most of the education or the teachings that I give are related to skills such as listening and speaking. Because here in Turkey, uh, people are more interested in those two skills because those are the active ones that they actually need in their lives. So I am from Iraq, born and raised in the southern part of the country in a city called Basra. And since childhood, I would be like maybe 12 years old or so, I started to be sort of interested in the language just because of the environment that I had back then. My brothers, my family, we were quite interested in education in general. But since that time, like 12, 13 till up to probably 18 years old, I had lots of input in terms of the language. And then suddenly output came about, or it just happened when I was like freshman, first year university, 18, 19. And since that time, I was like, I love that. It just I felt like back when I was home, everybody speaks Arabic language, certainly. So I felt unique and different in that perspective. So I'm like, people don't speak English quite fluently like I do, or like I did in the past, or same right now. But because of that, I focused lots of energy, effort into improving my English, but I didn't know how to improve my language. I just wanted to do some fun stuff. One of them was making videos and making content on social media back then, on Instagram specifically, and that's my way of kind of like in the beginning only uh, of improving my English or getting to know why English is so interesting for me, why I am so crazy about it, because I excluded lots of things when I was back at university, lots of subjects to be specific, and focus only on English language, which kind of shifted not just my mindset but m- my career choices, I would say. So by the age of 22, 23, I moved in to Turkey, and look, I was so ignorant, I must say. I have no idea about Turkey or their currency, whatever. I thought they are using euros here. Anyway, it's
Ouch.
crazy. But I never realized that English language is so essential uh, in Turkey. And I think this is part of the success and what I am doing right now with the language in terms of improving myself continuously. It never stops. And also teaching, coaching many, many students in Turkey, both academic and general English.
And if you take us back to the beginning, like how did English enter your life? Like what was the first thing that made you even interested in learning it?
So I had, or I have now goosebumps because I love talking about that because I think people I just love to. I'm so into this. So
Yeah.
by the age of 12, 13, I have sorry, three brothers and a sister. In total, we are five siblings. My three brothers were so much like, how can I say? They are so smart and talented. They had they are all engineers. One of them is a judge back home,
Wow.
and they were traveling a lot. And I'm like, when you're little, you'll be like, I think they are able to travel because they speak English fluently. So I had this idea, and I also saw lots of books in their rooms where English is everywhere. So that's why environment is extremely important. I always mention that to the students. So by the age of 12, 13, I went to my big brother. His name is Suhail. He's now living in the UK, specifically in Manchester. He has been living there for 9 years with his four cute children. And I remember vividly this. I went to him and I'm like, "Can you buy me an English book? Like, I want to learn words or something like that." And he was like, "Yeah, okay." The next day, he brought me a dictionary, Oxford dictionary, to be specific.
Oh, that's the
I
big
don't know
ballers
if I
one.
can say that, but
The big
sorry.
ballers, the big baller one. That's the good stuff. That's like, yeah, it's like a big. If I remember correct, like it's mega thick, right?
Yes, yeah, it's like 10 centimeter width, I guess. it's it's difficult to carry around. I wanted something to carry around with me everywhere I go because I was so in love with the language. But anyway, I'm happy. Everything is all right. And then I started to kind of come up with my own daily plan, a program that I didn't know I was following. But by the age of 18, I remember they told me about it, and then I realized like, whoa, I actually have a plan. That's remarkable because it was complete spontaneous. The plan was read 10 to 5 pages of dictionary daily. The goal is never to memorize. The goal is to familiarize yourself with the words. That's what I was doing, but unknowingly doing that. So that was the input that I was discussing earlier in the intro. So I didn't know that I'm being familiarized with those words. I don't know how important they are. I don't know when to use them, how to use them, where to use them. Just reading the word in English, going to the Arabic version of it, and then sometimes looking at the pronunciation, like the phonetics of it, and I'm like, what is that? I cannot read this. Never mind. So, so I was just checking English words and the Arabic one, and then after that, I watch movies. I go around. I start to sing some songs here and there. Very typical. But I was, how can I say this in a nice way? But Like, I mean, I was a child, so I didn't know what's right. I was singing English words, even though they were gibberish. Like, I don't know the words. What? Yeah, I have, like, when you listen to Despacito and you don't know Spanish,
Yeah.
just like, so like, I have no idea what I was saying.
It's
Um,
funny. Even when I do know English very well, sometimes the way
Yeah.
that singers sing, it still sounds like gibberish. I'm like, ah,
Yeah.
hell, I'm gonna just sing my heart out, even though I don't really know what the full context is. So even at higher level, this is still like happening all the time. So I
it,
wonder what kind
it's
of
it's
songs you were listening to.
um, to be honest, that was the other part of exposure that I was doing that I was not aware of. All types of music were, as far as they were in English language, I was listening to. So this is like, I don't know in the comment section what people might say, but first song I heard was Hannah Montana. Um,
Banger toys, banger
it,
choice.
I love Miley Cyrus most definitely, and I started to listen to this, and then after that, I was interested in Westlife blues or blue. There was a like nine in the 90s bands, uh, also because my brothers were listening to them, of course, and uh, but it was just like subconsciously, unknowingly, spontaneously, automatically, I am just getting so many words in my system, in my head. That I don't know it was healthy or not healthy, but my parents said that uh, why don't you watch series with us, films with us, Egyptian and Iraqi series, and especially uh, from Saudi Arabia and other countries, Arabic series and movies. I'm like, if I were, again, don't judge me, I was like 13, 14. I was like, if I were to listen to Arabic that much, the percentage of Arabic is more than English, then I'm gonna lose lots of words and I'm gonna lose my progress. So I completely exited from the culture of Arabic, whatever it was, music, books, series, movies. Sometimes, which I think it's still strange till now, friends. If a friend who's not interested in English, I'm not interested in that friend. So that was my teenage to university. So I think it was extreme or sort of obsession for me, but it made me really, to some extent, see now how beneficial that was. But again, I'm a nice person and I have a lot of friends, I must say.
Yeah, because I was about to ask, like, if you were going to this such extreme extent to kind of like build your entire existence around English, like, it's interesting to know because you created like this sort of extremely, I guess, radical way of learning English, like changing completely your approach, your friends, your personality around it. But Iraq doesn't really seem like a place that would be very, very, like very keen on having people that you can easily practice with. So it would be interesting to know what was your approach. Like, for example, for first, do you manage to find like a community of people that were English speaking? And if not, like, how do you kept this motivation completely by yourself?
This is also interesting because, earlier talking about friends, I found friends actually who are as interested in me in the language, and it made me happy, made me feel that I am not alone in this journey of uh, pursuit of being great or being able to communicate, or even having lots of friends from different countries. It helped me, and then one of my friends came about and came to me, and he said, look, you are making vlogs, you're making YouTube videos and content and everything else. I was like, yes. He said to me, there's something called Toastmasters. This place, everybody speaks English language and they do public speaking. So I said, I didn't even think about it. In my brain, he was talking and I was about to interrupt him, telling him I'm going there. this is how this is how crazy that is.
It's very funny because one future episode that we have will talk about Toastmasters very like
Ah,
specifically. I was not
I will check it
uh,
out definitely.
this is gonna come like pretty much a lot in the future, but I know that it's not the first time that it's the first time that it gets introduced here. but it's not the first time that a person in the podcast will talk about Toastmasters and their experience with it. So if you can of course continue with what like your experience with it, but it's very interesting because it is something that is brewing in the background. Like there's an episode about it soon. So
So I like, uh, I think my idea about Toastmaster is different than the people who interested or like it, because when I went there, yes, everybody was speaking English language. I just didn't like the idea that everything has a plan. There it's just I don't want to spoil, because I want people to, like, from a true correct perspective, understand what is Toastmasters. But my way of going to Toastmasters is just, I want to get exposed, because the first time you are, opening your mouth and the first couple of words of English, it's almost feel like you're a baby and you're about to speak in another language. So I went there just so that I can find a way to get this, the abundance, or the number of words that I've learning since 12 to 18. Because when I went to Toastmasters, it was first year or second year university. So when I went, I loved the fact that everybody speaks English language, but I didn't like, there were so many plannings and there were so many roles that people need to do and everything else. But that is the community, that one of the communities that I had, that I'm able to not just create communication and connection and network. I use LinkedIn with communicating with lots of people, because the people that were going to Toastmasters are, engineers, doctors. Some of them were uh, like consultants, account, like all different types of majors. They were going there because English language was essential in their life. So that was also an eye opener for me, because they are older than me, and they are pursuing, or they are trying to find a way to improve their English language. I was sort of lucky in that situation, because I created an environment through making videos and content where I don't need to do anything. I just open up the camera, I prepare a topic, if it was traveling, if it was economy, if it was business, and I just speak my ideas, and then I post video on the internet. That was place for me to do whatever I want, because Toastmasters back then in my city, it was it's kind of new, and it was like once a week. Anyway, if you know me this much, once a week is not enough for me.
no, it's not.
So I needed to find more ways to communicate and connect. So Toastmasters was the first community. I was able to communicate in English. There was another something called Al Farahidi Street, which is a cultural street in my city on Fridays only. Something called Let's Grow Up with English, a group of teenagers and young adults. They join for communication and connection in that street. And that is something also I didn't know about. One of my friends came about and he was like, Ali, you gotta check this street out. I'm like, I'm going. Where is it? Took my camera and I made a couple of episodes and videos also there. So these two communities, I would say, that the number two communities that help me uh, engage, get the English and the words that I have learned from the dictionary, from movies and songs and everything else. And the last one is that by the age of 19ish, 20ish, some people noticed my YouTube channel, and they told me that there is something called Maharat Mentorship Program, which is a program. It's an exchange program between the USA and my country. And we had this advantage, especially because of the occupation that took place 2003. So there were lots of programs and exchange programs. And I'm like, do I have to speak English there? They said, sure. I was like, okay, where do I apply? So I applied, I got accepted, and they were astonished because I was studying back then mathematical science with English department in the evenings, because my family wanted me to be a scientist, but I think I failed them. Anyway, uh,
You're doing great.
so sorry.
You're doing great. Like, oh,
Thank you, thank you. No, no, my mom is happy. She's like,
okay.
"You're doing something you love. That's what I want. That's the most important thing." Um, But I mean, again, with culture and everything else, like a household atmosphere back home, and the culture is quite different. My mom was telling me like you are a rebel, you're stubborn, you like to do things on your own way.
I mean, it's pretty
So
natural. Like the pretty natural that is about this rebellion, this massive, radical change to take English
mm,
like your language. That's a rebel mentality. I can tell you that much.
thank you. Look, I'm saying thank you because I took it as a compliment. You see.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah.
you can take. It would be super interesting actually for us to know like when was that moment when you realized English is not only a language that you're studying, but it has become a part of yourself.
That's a very good question, because the moment I was accepted in this program is international. All universities apply to this mentorship program, and between 20 to 15 universities, they accepted only 30 people. That's
Mm, that's
that
very
is
little.
for me something, like I think I got myself somewhere. I don't know where it is, I don't know what is the future, but I think it's a good place and I like it. Because I when I went to interview, there were two individuals from the USA and two individuals from Iraq on that table. And when I came, I gave a small introduction that I'm studying two departments, and then they were like, "Wait, did you say you have a YouTube channel and you're studying math science and English department? How do you find time?" So I explained that the idea that I make videos and I stay until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. to edit, and I never. Yes, sir. Uh, and I never care about math science as much as I care about English, because math science, it took me 6 years to graduate. English department, it took me 3 years. So um, I explained all of that, and they were wowed by the situation. And they say, "Okay, great. See you tomorrow." I got an email the next day. You got accepted. I didn't know there were a lot of universities, but when we went on the first day, they told us that. So to go back to the question, that I've been asked, when did you know it is not a language anymore? It is, a way of life, or a lifestyle, or something more than that. That moment, because this mentorship program, it took 8 months, and we do meetings in one of the biggest hotels in the city. It's called Sheraton, uh, and we were invited to a very, like, not just workshops or conferences, but they are bringing very, very successful people, like startups, business owners, to discuss how they start their own business. It's sort of entrepreneurship slash mentorship slash career guidance. They were all up together. And why they wanted us all to speak English, those 30 individuals, is because a lot of people are not speaking Arabic there. They were speaking English language. So in these interviews, these things that when they took place, it just I at that time my mom was surprised, my brothers were surprised. Where is Alius going? Why he's wearing a suit to these places? Oh my God, Ali is on Facebook. Oh, who's this taking pictures with Ali? Oh, Ali is on this channel, on that. So it just at that moment, I'm like, well, that I thought I was all in for English language, but at that moment, which I think it was between 2016, 2018, I think this period, I'm like, uh, this is my way of life. I want to speak English language every single day. I don't want to use any other language. And also, when I came to Turkey, that sort of purpose actually happened and have been happening since 2019.
Wow, like I do believe that like the moment that you get to be in so much exposed to like all English things and like being in this very I think it's seen as very exclusive clubs of English speakers in this program.
Yes, sir.
I if I
Exactly.
were any part of your family members, I would say that you were becoming part of a cult. But maybe maybe
My mom
you
was worried. I tell you that much.
that's the first reaction is like, oh, you're going to like a suit. They're gonna, I don't know where you're going. You don't have any connection. It's like you're speaking a different
Mm.
language. We don't understand you. So, but no, it seems like this sort of like big leap. like this very big exclusive label. It did pay off because right now you kind of are using the world of language and specifically English language and English teaching and tutoring to your day-to-day life as part of the Just English team. But for the people
Correct.
not aware of what Just English is and what like your activity is, could you give us a little bit of an introduction about that?
Uh, I'd love to. So Just English uh, is a language school. In our school, we teach, educate, improve students from all age range. Between, I think, the youngest students we had, she or he were like four-ish, 5 years old. So they didn't even learn their own language yet. Um, Between 5 to, I would say, 55. I had a private lesson student who's 55 years old. His name is Yadigar. That's a Turkish name, and we not like our main goal from the name of the school is that we have to use within the premises, within the school walls, we have to use English language. It doesn't matter uh, if it is important or not. So as a head teacher and uh, a person who's responsible for teachers and responsible for the education in the school, I am obligated to apply the rules, which is fully English language within the school corridors, classrooms, cafeteria or canteen. It doesn't matter. You will be speaking all English language to create that environment. Not just this, but we do teach many other languages like French, German. We German quite common. I would say the second language in Turkey most common after English language most definitely is German, and then Russian, and then nowadays some students are trying to learn Arabic. I think because of the diversity of the communities and the societies that we have here in Turkey. But we teach all the languages, and our focus mainly when it comes to education. I don't want anybody to leave the school unless they are able to utter, to speak the language. That's definitely our goal in our school. I've been working in Just English since 2019, August 31st, 2019.
Oh wow.
And then by January 2020, I've been offered the head teacher position because I think I killed myself. I had 10 hours every day from August to just because I love the language and I want to help people. And I needed the money, most definitely, because I was like sort of immigrant moving to Turkey. So it's like kind of essential for me. But when I was offered the head teacher position, I'm like, this is my work. This is what I've been doing to because I want to maintain all the time English language. That's the concept in this school. And the people that I hire because of my approach of and the mentorship program training, and because of I have two diplomas, and I have also exchange program certificates from the USA, from Washington. I felt like I was prepared for this position, and I've been running the school now since 2020. And like I get negative feedback because it's impossible. You would be managing something and you would never get a feedback, negative or positive, but more negative than positive, because that's how you improve, most definitely. But everybody was happy with the fact that English language is always spoken, because everybody in Turkey would like to have English language in their environment. So that's basically, uh, just English is all about. If I would give a small intro about it.
And you shortly talked about hiring others, so this is part of your tasks as a head teacher.
Mhm.
How, like, who do you hire? Like people from Turkey or native speakers, or how is it?
So there are two ways of the hiring process works. So, number one is through a website where my director, the general education director, sends me CVs, and I am responsible to review these CVs and see what's best for me and what do I need at this month. So I get like maybe 15 to 10 CVs, and they are mainly Turkish citizens, but they are holders. They are like English language teachers or English language and literature. They have a department here, or foreign languages department. Honestly, I never cared where or what their diploma is, because for me, English language is a skill. If you love it, you've improved yourself and you want to help other people, that's good for me. But again, as a school manager, that would not be enough, because I need to see what are the skills that the school needs. Like, do I need a teacher who is focused more into speaking, listening, reading, writing? In the beginning, I was just hiring people, and I think I didn't do a good job for first, second 2 years, to be honest, because people are different, and I was sort of like a bad judge of character in the beginning, because at that time I was like 25-ish, 26-ish when I started to run the school. Uh, so those Turkish citizens, I was always interviewing. I have the idea, if you cannot introduce yourself to me, I am unable, or I don't want to, or I will never hire you, because uh, I had this aspect of the students look at the teacher and they're like, "Can my teacher speak English?" Because I've seen this a lot, and I see my students telling me, "Teacher, I want to speak like you." So if I hire somebody unable to speak and communicate using English language, that's hard, because here in Turkey, it actually happens. They don't care if the speaker, my apologies, if the teacher speaks the language or not. You have a diploma, welcome aboard. That doesn't work in my part. When it comes to Turkish citizens, that's my way of approach. I do sometimes, if necessary, demo lesson, though I think demo lessons for teachers is like, I don't know, doesn't work for me, because why would I give you a topic to do a demo lesson for when you're going to take 2-3 days to prepare for presenting? How would you teach present simple or whatever? So I sometimes do, sometimes I don't. I hope my general director doesn't see this podcast and hears about this. But uh,
But I can wipe this out the episode if you want, or I can just
no, 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 no.
no, no,
It's
I can
okay.
get
It's
that.
okay. For the past 4 years, our rating in the branch where I work is very high. It's 5 stars, 4 stars and half. So I think the director won't say anything.
Yeah.
But the part where Turkish citizens CVs that I get, the I would say 70% of them unable to communicate, and we know like speaking the language is not the same as communicating and connecting.
I think,
So
Absolutely.
yeah, but I think that would be kind of
yeah,
like an important thing if you're
Yeah.
doing a teaching job.
Yes.
You can't communicate. Like like if you cannot communicate, how are you gonna teach it to a student that
Yeah,
doesn't even know less
absolutely.
of the language? So it's interesting.
couldn't couldn't agree more. Yeah. So that was my own experience back, and I've just noticed how I have improved, and it doesn't take much if you have the willingness to improve yourself as a teacher. From my perspective, I think. Um, so 75% I was not able to hire, but I do have an obligation to reply to my director's email and mention that the fact that this teacher has 1, 2, 3, I am unable to hire her or him because of this situation. In the beginning, they didn't know how I run things. So they were like, no, hire this person. They do have this diploma, they do have this experience. And then after that, I noticed that the feedback of the students and the school is quite negative. So after, like, I am here in the school for 6, 7 years now, they are not doing that anymore. So if I say no, they're like, okay, fantastic, continue.
Okay.
This is one way of doing those things.
Did you like what did you do kind of against that? Did you start to hire people from other countries too? Like, do you have like teachers with mixed backgrounds now, and how does that influence the students maybe?
Absolutely. So the first way is the Turkish citizens, the CVs that I get, and the second way is my communication and connection with students and our current teachers. They were able to connect me with internationals, especially here in the city where I live, Sakarya, which is like 2 hours away from Istanbul. Um, Sakarya University has plenty of internationals. Like we're talking about people from the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Algeria, Jordan, Lebanon. I had teachers from Ghana, Sierra Leone, Zimbabwe. Um, there's a Somalia as well,
Wow.
and also from I think uh okay, I forgot. It's a definitely
It's already
an
a very
African.
big,
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah,
big
it's
setup that you
massive.
created,
It
of teachers. So.
exactly. Yes, yeah, it is truly massive. Like currently, I have 40 teaching staff on board, and so that helped me to, with my own network and connection through social media, of course, and through the previous teacher that I worked with. I always stay in contact with them. I'm like, hi, how are you? How you doing? I really need an international teacher who is able to speak Russian and English at the same time. I need both because English is more common, but Russian is not much. But you might get 2, 3 students per month, but that wouldn't get you, sufficient income. So because teachers, especially students or master degree seekers in Sakarya University, they would like to have an income. At least they could pay their rents and enjoy the beauty and travel around and everything else. So I wanted whoever comes as an international, they need to be able to teach 2 languages. So through this network, I was able to hire lots of teachers. For example, I'd like to speak about one of our teachers. She's born and raised in Russia. She's studying English language teaching in Saga University, and she was able to provide services for both languages. I mean, it is it's really rewarding for her in terms of motivation to teach 2 languages at the same time, and not just that, but the as an international, Turkish students love you so much. It's just the mystery. Well, like, where did you come from? What's your background? Why are you here? You speak English beautifully. I want to learn from you. Those things make not just the students happy. It makes me, as the head teacher who hired that teacher, makes me so excited and so you know grateful. And of course, that gives me you know a sort of appreciation of that teacher. I would tell some of the teachers, like, with a good feedback, the students love you, they communicate with you, they want you to come for their speaking clubs, this and that. I am, as your boss, I'm very happy to support you more. If an increase or a pay rise is a necessity for you, I'll be happy to do that. And also my director understand my approach about those things, because some teachers are just, especially the internationals. Our school, I believe, it's built on international teachers, because we have sort of a program of, like, if you were to take classes for 4 days, 2 days would be for a Turkish teacher, where they will focus mainly on the grammar and other topics that are a bit complex for an international to explain, because internationals, they have, of course, they speak Turkish, but not that of in depth, so that the Turkish citizen would understand. So 2 days international and 2 days a Turkish teacher. So it just the environment and everything in the school is so beautiful, just because those internationals exist, and that's a big advantage for me.
It reminds me of a very similar experience. This is more for the learner side rather than the hiring teacher side. But back when I was
Yeah.
learning English, I had an American teacher, like a Native American teacher,
Wow.
Native American. His name was Brian, and I
Mm.
used to be like, whenever people would come in, they were like English teachers and they spoke Italian. It was okay. Everybody kind of make fun of them. But I remember this specific teacher that even wasn't really that doing that much great at actually teaching English, but the actual gleaming beam from all the students that were asking all questions regarding American culture, and like, oh, do you guys actually have big hamburgers out there or something like that? This it definitely made language learning a lot more fun. It was definitely for me because I was the one that was always bothering the poor guy, and I regret nothing. That person, it didn't.
Yes, you should not. You should
Yeah,
not.
no, I don't regret anything. And that was the only teacher from English that lasted more than a year for our school during my 5 years in high
Oh,
school. Because we would change English teacher for like every year until the fourth year, where he came in and he also did the fifth year as well, which was very uncommon at the time.
wow.
And I think that maybe my participation and some other students, classmates of mine that were also as crazy about the American culture, may has
Yes.
given that sort of feedback that the bosses might have used.
And how is it for you, Ali? Like you learned English completely on your own. How does that kind of shape the way you teach it to your students now? Or does it have an impact at all?
Um, I mean, this is interesting because like when I started to take one of the students, I do have sort of like 2 hour, 1 hour where I explain to them that, first I don't want to apply the same rules and things that I have done because I think some students are like and now for 7 years they cannot do that. It's impossible. You have to have a different mindset. So what I do in the first hour is that we need to build together a mindset where you have to understand that English is very important because most of the students that I have, their life depending on it. Especially the past 2 years, they are taking IELTS preparation courses from me, and if they cannot obtain that score, either they are unable to be pilots in Turkish Airlines, unable to go to Europe for masters or PhD. So they have their life depending on English language. So the first thing that I do is mindset. So I need to clear their head about English language. They have lots of misconceptions about English language. Uh, IELTS preparation is quite different because it focuses on communication, focuses on comprehension, focuses on coherence, cohesion, organizing ideas, and uh, connection of ideas. Um, so I explain all these things for them from a perspective not of a teacher, because I part of my job, I observe other teachers' classrooms, and I've noticed that nobody does that. Just because you have a textbook and you have to go on with it, you do some activities here and there. I love that. There is no problem in that. But sometimes some students, they need to understand that there is a higher purpose to learn this language. Your mind, like if we're talking about biology, your wiring, your mindset is going to shift completely just knowing English language, because you're going to expose to different news types, different information, and the whole world speaks this language. So they need to understand that from me. So I think that approach is just because of where I come from, how English have changed my mind, and how my life has changed as well because of it, and the network that I have. Like I know lots of people. Luckily, I'm very fortunate and very blessed to have this because of English language. So I try to explain this, but of course, I don't spend an hour doing that. That would be unprofessional. But I try to do my best to explain that in a way they are like, I want to join the class next time, because the teacher told me something just stuck in my mind, and I think he shifted, or at least 1%, if we are doing 40 hours of education or 100 hours together. This is shift. Just this teacher want to give me everything that he have been learning for the past couple of years or so. So mindset for me is definitely important, and I think that's because of how English has changed my life. And then after that, I try to make the conversations, make the education as natural, as inspiring it could be, because um, as teachers, I don't know if some teachers or educators would agree with me, but we are some sort of performers. Like we need to make sure that, if I'm having a stand-up comedy or opening show, I need people to come in. So I need to give them something they would look forward to, look up to, uh, something that they need to, it just like it's a path. I'm gonna guide you through it. Gonna help you out with it. I try to do my best to do that, and of course, I uh, guide all my students to my social media because I don't speak any other language but English language on all my social media. Actually, now in my life, especially with my wife, and my wife is Turkish, we don't speak any other language except for English. I actually taught her English. Then we got married. It's just, I'm sorry, babe. So it just I want them to see that.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. I mean, being a teacher also means doing kind of edutainment. So it's always a
Yeah,
entertainment and a lot of education, of course, but a bit
of
of
course.
entertainment too. So I agree with you on that. That you have to kind of perform a bit in front of your students to motivate them because you're the motivator too. Then to
Agree.
educate them because you explain things and yeah, you have so many jobs at once
Yeah.
as a teacher.
Correct. Correct.
Ausgelia.
And it reminds me of some wise words that I remember some time ago. I was like out with some friends, and this person was talking about all jobs, not necessarily about teachers, but it's also relevant. It says that all jobs are creative, and every profession is an artist. Because and
Yeah.
we like go around and be like, okay, like how do you like why is a doctor creative? It's like, oh, you have to create like a nice ways to tell the patients that they're gonna die or something like that. But for the teacher, it was like they have to find a creative way to make them love what they're teaching, which is,
Yeah.
and this is not as easy as just giving them a book and follow the plan. That's an option that you have, but it's not
Mhm.
enough because that is as cold and as tried and tested as it can be. And the the
Mm.
language, the great thing about language is the connections that you can get out of it. And if you cannot let people love the language to begin with, you're gonna have a bunch of people that have resentment over learning it.
Mm.
You're gonna think that this is like, oh, I have to do it. Oh, fine, okay, whatever. I will do the exercises. But some people like the great, at least the great or like the best case scenario is to find
Yeah.
ways to make them fall in love with the language, not just learn it.
And that's
Indeed.
actually
Indeed.
sorry. Yeah.
No, it's,
And
it's okay. I was just agreeing strongly with the gentleman. It's okay.
okay.
Like it.
And that's
Yeah.
actually a good point too, because you just said like you have to like find the sense in what you're learning and like find the motivation for it. It would be interesting for us to know a bit more about the background of people in Turkey, how their relationship is with English. So see a bit like if there were any surprises for you when you came to to Turkey first. Yeah, how is the relationship to English in that country?
I how can I say this? I mean, I'm not very famous in the city where I am, but I get recognized. But first time coming in the country and seeing people how they treat me because they know I'm speaking English is just remarkable. Turkish people love to love hospitality. They love to take care of you. They give you stuff for free. They open doors for you and everything else. So when I was speaking English language, when I was like living in Istanbul for 3 months or so, I noticed this. People love the language, but I feel sorry at the same time because they are unable to communicate and connect. Like this sentence that I will just mention, I get so much and I feel their regret and remorse when they say it. They are like, oh, English language is very important. I should learn it. I wish I can speak with you. That's that's the phrase that I get here in Turkey most of the time. And how I know they say this because my Turkish is, relatively like A2 level, maybe.
Wow.
So it's like I understand like maybe I understand and I communicate to some extent, maybe 40, 50%, something like that. My wife and the friends that I have around me, they also say that this person said like this, they said like that. Um, and I see that Turkish people love the language. They love the people who speak the language. They believe that English speakers, non-native, native, they think they are educated. they think they have sort of important information, important value. We love to be around you, not just because your culture, but because you speak the language. And the more I am around you, that's an English exposure for me. So I would learn one word or two, and I'm, satisfied and happy with that. It doesn't matter what is the age, uh, but they do love the language quite a lot. For example, these couple of days, I have an hour break from work. I go to or close to my wife's work, so we drink coffee here and there, and we sit down in a very beautiful, cozy coffee shop. Shout out to Caribou. I love this brand in Turkey. Here they have amazing coffee. Um, we sit, my wife and I, when we speak and communicate. You just see that everyone looks at our table. Like I feel like it's not nice actually, but I mean, like, because sometimes we talk about topics here and there. But I love that, and I feel special and I feel unique. Uh, People treat us, my wife as well. They treat us like we are from different planet. They want to learn the language, but due to unfortunate economical situations that happening in Turkey, people are unable to afford it to some extent. So my school, for example, that I'm working in, sort of became premium, just because we are providing the best education. We have the best international teachers in Turkey, because I am like cherry picking, like I'm a very selective with the team because of the experience and the things that I know what best for us, what would work, what not, and the being consistent and long term success over short term, whatever. Um, so they just have the issue of affordability. Like, can I afford learning the language? Do you think 3 months would be enough? Do you think 2 months would be enough? I get these questions all the time, and one of the things that I think my Instagram is really doing good job, because most of my students are coming from Instagram. I offer a different pay rate, which is much more convenient for them, but still, affordability, economy situation, they prefer to travel rather than learning the language, for example. But English language is like wow for Turkish people here.
It's incredible because like most of the time when you do talk about other people's overall like idea to learning a language, usually people come in and they have a very neutral or like utilitarian view of English. It's like, oh,
Mm.
I have to learn it. That's no choice. It's like it's a subject that you learn at school. You have to learn it because it will help you, I guess. But like, I wish I didn't. So, but it seems that the people that are coming in to your places are much more enthusiastic and they see language as much more than that. So, like, you seem to find that English is a lot more than a neutral skill. What do you actually think English represents for these people coming in?
I've been asked this by our teachers in the school, because our my teachers, I should say, they always ask, like, the teacher, how is your life going? Like, do you use English all the time? How do you speak with your mother-in-law? And how do you communicate with Turkish people? You don't know Turkish, and everything else. So they are wondering a lot and everything else. And I'm saying this because I've been asked this question before. A Turkish teacher asked me this question on my birthday. I think 2 years ago, we gathered, and they asked me that because they believe uh, that because I've moved from a different country, and that's a big step for them to move to a different country to find a job and to start a life and everything else. And I told them this word, and I will never forget. I said passport. Like, English language is definitely a passport. It's just a gateway. It's a door. It just I would I would describe it in so many words, but passport, I think it's the best because it just gets you to different locations, different places. There is no, I don't like, I haven't traveled a lot, but I think y- if you were to travel anywhere on earth, English language is the language is to go. Like, this is what I should use in order to communicate and connect. So the way I view it, I always tell them that it is a passport, especially because of, most of the students, as I mentioned earlier, are applying for IELTS and they want to get their score and everything else. So I think my word is a passport, definitely. I mean, of course, you can go to your town hall, whatever, to get your passport out, piece of paper and stuff. But it is like the metaphorical passport, I would say.
But the great thing is that this sort of passport doesn't really, it's not just limited to just specific places, specific situation. Just the moment that you learn English, you can for example, if you're interested in finding a job, for example, you can find jobs in the most unlikely places. Like, you, who would think that a little like tiny company in Paris is looking for English speakers, but English is like a requirement for those people. Like,
Yes.
why would you think you could go to like a Japanese startup that just started, and you think, oh my God, I need to learn Japanese very well. And lo and behold, they require you to know English. I think it's way more than just a passport to just like bridge to with places. It's just like a kind of like a ticket, or like a necessary item to get a little like extra jump or extra, uh, you know, upgrade to your lifestyle. So I
That's very
think,
beautiful way, the way you put it. I must say, I've never thought about that in this way. It's beautiful. I agree. I agree.
yeah, it's definitely, it's much more. I mean, a password is still a great way to put things. It's not. I'm not saying that language
No,
is
no, of course, of course.
English is not a password. It is a password. It's much more than that as well. It's a
Yeah,
whole
like
suite.
this is why I agree with you, because like I think initially the idea of a passport is you're able to move wherever you want. You just can go anywhere. I mean, that's the concept. That's why I agree with what you have said, and I think it's just beautiful how you put it like that.
Yeah. But now we're kind of approaching our last set of questions for the
Yeah.
show, and we've been through a lot during this couple of times. We've seen your incredible adventures from your own cult-like, I guess,
Very happy
exchange
to share them. I
programs.
I promise you.
Your journey in Turkey, and your just English work experience. So, looking back at everything that we've mentioned so far,
Yeah.
what do you think, like yourself being a little bit of an outsider in all of these situations, gave you that couldn't really have couldn't get in any other way?
So, I could you repeat the question, please? I
Looking
couldn't
back,
catch.
yeah, sorry. Looking back at everything that you've done so far, all of the situations, what do you think the concept of being an outsider in all of the situation gave you that you couldn't have gotten in any other way? Just like you being the outsider of things.
Uh, I think probably no, I don't know, but I feel like I'm blessed, and everything. Every time somebody asks me something, I always attribute it to the fact that English. I was like, it got me to so many places. It allowed me to meet lots of people, different locations I've been to. I've I've been to board meetings. I've been to so many places that like I'm like just like, how did I get here? Is that even real? Like, I always there's a song by the Script, very beautiful music they have, but there's a verse where they say, it's like they are referring to their past away mom or dad or something. But I'm there and I'm like, I wish my mom could see this. I wish my dad can see, like, I was able to make it, because like my brothers were very successful. I'm not taking that away. They've done lots of great things. One of my brothers actually ranked number one in computer science engineering back home, and they've done great things. But moving outside to a different country and building a life and doing all these things, I think English language and perspective is the most important thing that I've ever could have gotten, because it just helped me with so many things in life. And I must mention that I don't think that is, or this is the end. I think that's only the beginning. I don't know where it's going to take me in the future, but I am like if I was 100% all in, I'm like now 5,000% all in, because I know it's just going to change and shift everything in my life.
And
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it did. I mean, you could also
Okay.
argue that it gave you more of like the courage to actually kind of try these extremely interesting experiences. But I guess that's a whole different discussion about
Yes.
the
Because like the
secondary
story where I
benefits.
came to Turkey was not mainly because I was able to speak English language. I had sort of situations back home that sort of pushed me from the country. As like it was not a planned. It was one day, just like that. My whole life has changed somehow. Luckily, I must say,
Yeah.
very happy. Thank God. Yes.
And that brings us also to the last question. So you found all this inspiration and motivation to change your life, to move to another country. So for our listeners, if there was anybody listening who felt like, well, this is not really for me, or I am too far behind, I cannot really learn English right now, I'm too old for it, or for some other reasons, like what would you want them to hear?
Um. So the interesting thing is that because of my experience, I learned that people's perspective to a language or English specifically, it's kind of hard to change. They need to see a very strong proof that this language works. This person brings the language with him as an educator. This person is going to take me to another level. They need to see a strong proof that this is possible. So I always mention when I start with my lessons and my students, I mention my wife. When we started meeting, we were communicating via Google Translate. And 6 months after, I swear on everything. I tell this proudly. 6 months, Google Translate, just because my wife loved the language, loved being around me when I speak the language, and she loved making videos. When I make videos in English language, I told her this is my way of practicing. 6 months period. I know it like it's unbelievably. We met probably the end of 2018. Before I get the job at this school, July 2019 or so, she was able to speak and communicate. And because of that, I said, like, I can do this in Turkey. Maybe I can find a job where I can improve people. So a strong proof is a necessity for people. So if they think, well, I am this age, or I have this challenges, or I have this, or I have that, I would say these are all excuses. Going to the gym is always hard for people because they say, I don't have time. But they do have time, except they prefer to do something else instead of going to the gym. So, strong proof is very important. Doesn't matter what is your age. The teacher need to make sure that, you know, I can get you there. In terms of a learner, the learner need to have a purpose. They need to have a goal.
Mhm.
Age doesn't matter. Most definitely. My students are like my youngest is 10, 11, and I still remember her. She was smart as hell. She was a B2 level. We were talking about politics, for God's sake.
Wow.
10, 11, about history and economy. Turkish citizens and Turkish people are very educated about those two topics because, they have to. And I had students who are 55, 60, and they were able to come every single week, and they were able to come to me with a story. Teacher, we had a board meeting, a person from Switzerland. We sat down. I introduced myself. I felt confident. I felt great. They come the next day like that. So age is definitely not something you can put in front of you to stop you or to build a boundary. But human beings, and that's also another conversation that I like to have with lots of people and lots of students. Human brain and their psychology, they love to put excuses, they love to put boundaries, they think they cannot, which is something not true. There is nothing, everything is possible. Impossible is just a word. And in my life, I always tell my students that I've asked God, if I'm that religious, I've wished for this life to speak only English language, and it happened. And the story of how it happened: in one day, 5 a.m., I traveled, I took one-way ticket, and I came to Turkey. So impossible in my life, and when I take my students and when I communicate with them, that's why first hour of every lesson I do, I discuss mindset. I don't want them to give up on me because I know I can give them everything that I have, what I have learned. And I I I try to tell everybody all the time, you don't need a teacher as well. I've never studied English language. I've never went to courses. I had in primary school and high school, but there is nothing in terms of education about speaking or listening. We're doing only grammar. Even in Turkey is exactly the same. Self-education would work. How do I start? Where do I start? Go find an influencer or an educator on social media that teaches English. Text them, can you give me a lesson plan? They will give you. People love to help. I helped a lot of people, sending them lesson plan, resources, links, YouTube channels. Self education would work. You don't have money to pay, then super. Sit down every day, 1 hour, a lesson plan, and it will work. So there is no excuse whatsoever. English language is, I don't know why it's so much popular and global. I should chat GPT that. I don't know why it is so global, whatever other reasons, but I think
Yeah.
it is easy to learn. I think that would be probably one of the reasons why it is so popular.
Yeah.
So I hope that everybody who listens to this just starts, buy your notebook, get a pen, whatever color you wish, purple, red, black, and start making notes. Read from the dictionary. It is boring, cool. Read a book, take a note, write it down a sentence, record an audio or a video of it, play with it, have fun. Who says English language is science? It's art. It's a creativity. It is, I don't know. That's how I see it, and that's how I always tell the people they hear it.
Yeah.
And I find people always like, I'm gonna learn, teacher.
Yeah.
You will see.
No,
So
and I mean, at the end of the day, impossible is just a word in a dictionary.
yeah.
True.
Yes,
It's
sir.
just
Yes,
it's
sir.
just a word in a dictionary. And thank you so much, Ali, for coming on this episode of the Connected
Absolutely
by
welcome.
Arabic
Very glad.
podcast. So, if anybody wants to reach you out to kind of learn a little bit more about what you do and your services, this is the perfect time to put it. We will put them as link in the description.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I used to have a website, but I don't have now. I have a link tree with all my social media. If you write Ali Alradhi everywhere, my name will pop up. But my username is always Alawiz, and that's spelled as ALAW I. That means,
That's
and the letter Z or Z at the end.
That's fantastic. Make sure to click those ones in the description so you can get
Thank you very
all of
much.
those English language goodness. But in the meantime, thank you guys all so much for joining this episode of the Connected by Language podcast. Have you guys tried learning English? I hope you can, because if you couldn't learning if English, how do you know about this podcast? Honestly, good question, right?
Really good.
It's a very good question.
Maybe they listen to it with subtitles.
With subtitles. Oh, actually that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
But but in general, yeah, let us know in the comments about your language journey and what are maybe your favorite techniques or elements that allow you to reach that level of confidence into learning the language. And you know, I've been your host, Michele. I've been joined by my co-host,
Michelle.
and guess who's gonna come next time to talk about their own language journey? I certainly cannot wait. I don't know about you.
No, I cannot wait either.
So for the moment, I guess we can see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.